be there. Hey, greetings, everyone. Hello, it's Naomi Wolf of Outspoken, and I am so delighted and thrilled to have Jimmy Wagner on our show, the amazing Jimmy Wagner, who's done so much for citizens of Brooklyn, civic engagement, health freedom. Welcome, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for taking the time to hear about our little corner of the world called Brooklyn.
Kind of an important little corner of the world. There's millions of people living there and very much in the center of the news right now. Well, I wanted to have Mr. Wagner, Jimmy, on for a lot of reasons, but one of them is that I am a part-time Brooklyn resident. So I'm very, very aware of the issues and struggles of the citizens of Brooklyn, and partly because we're in a really interesting political moment, and Jimmy Wagner and his colleagues are kind of in a flashpoint at the center of this political moment because they are Republicans in Brooklyn. And Jimmy's mission is to, in a lot of ways, is to, I don't want to reduce it by saying to turn Brooklyn red, but why don't I send it over to you and say, what is your mission with the Republicans Club in Brooklyn?
So ideally, red would be a perfect world. We'll take purple, right? That mix of blue and red. And just to understand the basis, the foundation of the club, the club was just started January 2025. We were all Democrats. We were Democrats that a lot of blue collar working class Democrats, teachers, cops, firemen, policemen, that still have suffered the brunt of the illegal, impermissible COVID-19 vaccine mandate. And they think we're just going to be silent and let it go away because a handful of judges say the government can do this to you. And we're not giving up. And we have like this club now in Brooklyn that's growing every month, that we're putting out there our own homegrown candidates that first and foremost, look, it's sort of like this Dixiecrat moment going on in Brooklyn where there's a group of Democrats, blue collar Democrats, that have been just completely left behind by the Democratic elites. And in New York City, they expect us just to roll over, do exactly what they want, and comply with their advice. And it's just not what we're going to do.
Interesting. So it's less, or maybe not, lifelong Republicans on a quixotic quest to bring country club republicanism to Brooklyn, but actually dyed-in-the-wool, working and middle class Brooklynites who have been Democrats their whole lives, it sounds like, who can no longer go along with the Democratic agenda. And so that's very interesting to me as someone who follows politics closely. You mentioned the mandates. Go into more detail, please, about what the turning point was, for you and for other, working people of Brooklyn who are aligned with you now. What specifically drove them away from the Democratic machine in Brooklyn?
So this illusion of due process, right? We all believe that we're all entitled to due process. Criminals don't have to talk. We're all entitled to this hearing before the government can come in and destroy you. Let me tell you, I can't speak for the rest of the country. In New York State, 100% working class blue collar workers were denied due process. They were told essentially, shut up, do what we tell you, and be happy you have a job.
About the mandates.
About the vaccine mandate. Correct. And these are blue collar workers that have all watched people commit crimes, especially teachers do terrible things, assault students, and they don't lose their jobs. But you're telling me, I just ask, why do I have to do this after I had been working the last 2 years with no vaccine? Now I'm being again, the word mandate was an illusion, right? It was just the way they gave you an illusion of due process. The word mandate's an illusion because the executive branch, the mayor's office and the governor's office, they don't get to tell us what to do. Legislature gets to tells us what to do after they pass a law, and then the executive branch enforces it. Here in New York, there was never a law passed. It was literally done from the executive branch. And
so it wasn't legal to start out with.
Listen, the judiciary in New York State have aligned themselves with this emergency concept that the government, the executive branch, had the authority to do something. I 100% disagree. And And that's what the club started on, is understanding judiciary is not the be all end all. In fact, the judiciary mostly are just political people who've been appointed and don't want to do much more work. Right. So what we can do as the people is we can say, hey, judges, and one of the cases is like O'Reilly versus the Board of Ed, of which Athena Clark is a part of. We turn around and we say, your case law is wrong. You've interpreted the statute incorrect, and we want that corrected. So the idea is to get these people in office that will have judges rule on the law, make sure blue collar workers receive due process, and receive more due process than, undocumented immigrants. All we hear about right now is due process for undocumented immigrants, and they absolutely deny due process to working class New Yorkers, especially here in Brooklyn. It was probably the hardest hit borough.
Wow. So in your experience, it was the 20,000 roughly mandated workers who did not want to take an experimental injection into their bodies, who were fired, or laid off, could no longer feed their families. That's the main kind of turning point you're seeing. And have I gotten the numbers right?
In reference to your numbers, I think it's 20,000 that were vocal about it.
I see.
I think look, if I had to estimate, it would probably be over 100,000. I really, there was so many, my own wife included. My wife was fortunate because I was able to get her an accommodation as a teacher. Many of the teachers didn't get it, even some of the other people I know.
Wow.
But they informed my wife she would never be in a classroom again. She would never get to teach students. And my wife was devastated. She's like, I didn't become. So she ended up taking the shot because of that. Yes, because she wouldn't be able to, she has 2 masters. She loves teaching children. And that they put that over her head. And that was the issue I told her as the attorney. My wife's Jill. I said, Jill, I can get you the accommodation. You're not going to lose your job, but I can't force them to let you continue to teach. And there were so many people like my wife that had to make that terrible decision.
You mean, Jimmy, that by getting her the accommodation, you could get her to a place where she wouldn't lose her job, but they would put her in a room somewhere to sit forever with the other people
Right.
who have lost their right to teach for actual pernicious reasons.
Correct.
Oh, that's
Correct.
so evil. And what is it that she teaches, Jimmy?
She teaches ESL, English as a second language, to kindergarten through 5th grade.
I'm going to cry.
Yes, like if you ever met my wife, she loves teaching. And this was such a hard point. And that was sort of why I picked up this fire for all her friends. And, Athena Clark, Rachel Maniscalco.
So tell our audience who Athena Clark is. I interviewed her, of course, but for those who didn't see the interview,
Athena Clark, like my wife, is a teacher that taught through the pandemic, that was denied due process. I couldn't even get Athena Clark the accommodation. I couldn't get Rachel Maniscalco the accommodation. The Board of Ed fired these women who did nothing wrong. All they asked for was their time for a hearing. They had a group of judges say, what do you need a hearing for? We know what you're going to say. You're going to say, you're not vaccinated. So what do we have to waste the due process for? We already know what's going to happen. You're terminated.
It's so un-American.
Unbelievable.
I really hope people listening realize this isn't about teachers and it isn't about the vaccine. This is about whether we have a rule of law in this country or not, whether we are just going to be the Soviet Union before 1989, where, the commissar says, that's it, you lose your job, or you lose your liberty and there's no recourse. Have I overstated that, Jimmy?
You've probably understated it. I agree with that statement 100%. It's 100%. It's not about vaccines, teachers. It wasn't about COVID-19. This was about people's rights, blue collar people, American citizen rights, that line between government and the citizens. Right. 100%.
And it sounds like, from what you're describing, it's also about, do we want to have an American system at all in terms of who decides, right? The legislature or random politically appointed corrupted judges, right? Do we want to have laws passed by our elected representatives, laws that we in turn can repeal? Have I overstated that or understated that?
No, you've hit the nail right on the head, the bullseye. But the problem is, I'm not sure a lot of the public recognizes and understands that. They see the executive branch, they see the commissioner of health. He says, I have to be mandated. Okay,
Right,
who is this commissioner of health? What's
right,
his
right,
relationship to you? What
right,
is his background or her background?
right.
I'm allowed informed consent. Like, if I don't want to, look, if I want to risk my life, that's my priority,
Okay.
my prerogative. And it's just, we're not ruled by the executive branch. And no matter how we, we color it up. We paint up the rooms, and we have to listen to these executive branch from every level, from the federal Dr. Fauci on down to New York City. These people are just people. We can take their opinion and take their advice, or not. And
Or
if you
not.
want to,
There's no
right,
power over us. Exactly.
right,
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. I love what you're saying because I remember seeing all these stickers outside of Walmart saying, Massachusetts mandates you must be vaccinated or masked to go inside. New York mandates. And I'm like, what is a mandate? A mandate doesn't exist in the American system, right? It's a mandate is an edict from the king, as I recall.
right, right. And if it's not an edict from the king, it's an edict from an appellate division court, not from some appointed bureaucrat at the executive level. Just to give you an idea, just
Right.
off
It
topic
should be.
slightly,
Yeah.
and when it should be, in
Right.
New York City's commissioner of health, when he mandated this vaccine, everybody within the 20,000 people who are on this chat, we all started going to the his Google page, and giving him 1 stars as a doctor. And if you're in private practice and if you've ever had bad reviews, it's very, very almost impossible to get them off.
Yeah.
Google, within 3 days, just blocked every single one of them and put them back. Yeah, it was wild. So there was definitely this correspondence going on between big tech, the government, even at the executive branch level in New York City. And
Mhm.
all people were asking for was due process. They could have given them the hearing and then fired them. And then
Right.
it's a different case.
They didn't even give them the hearing.
But they didn't give them the hearing.
Well, now you're saying that there could be 100,000 people in Brooklyn, people like your wife and her friends who, went along in order to keep doing what they loved, what they trained for, what they got 2 MAs for, to not let down the kids, or if they were firefighters, not let down their brothers and sister firefighters, the people in burning buildings, if they were police, to not let down the, thin blue line, et cetera. And that this is a kind of a silent constituency that is done with Democrats because of the mandates and is open to leaving the party. Is that what you're saying?
That's what we're definitely aiming for and trying. If at club meetings, we have a room filled with people, many of them 60-70% who were Democrats less than a year ago, right?
Wow.
Yes, people signing up. And when I explain to people, when I'm given the opportunity, that whether you took that vaccine, that even the idea that you took it and you didn't want to take it was wrong, right? You should be compensated the same way the government could turn around and give you a $100 gift certificate to take the vaccine. The government clearly can turn around and say, you know what, we're sorry we did this. We overreacted. It was the greatest mistake of the 21st century. Here, we're going to make this right. Instead of giving an $800 gift card to an undocumented immigrant who's not vaccinated, let's look at our own workers, what we did, our own citizens, and let's just correct this terrible injustice. They're really trying to continually push us under the rug.
That's extraordinary. This could turn out to be karma in the biggest sense, coming back to bite the Democratic Party in the borough of Brooklyn. Well, now, what are some of the other issues that you're hearing about from people who come to your club, who may not be this group? Is it crime? Is it, rents? Is it healthcare? What are some of the other reasons people are walking away from the Democratic Party in Brooklyn?
So I feel as though it's sort of like an organic mutiny going on, right? Because what we have is a group in New York City called the Democrat Socialist of America. And the Democratic Socialists of America, they really have put forward such Karl Marx communist ideas. And there's a lot of moderate Democrats who own private property in Brooklyn. They own a 1 or 2 family house.
Mhm.
They've worked their whole life. Their family has worked their whole life. In fact, they've escaped actual socialism and communism, whether in Cuba or Venezuela. And they're now legally here.
Yeah.
Russia. Yeah, Russia. They're legally here in the United States, in Brooklyn, working, just taking on that responsibility. And now they're listening to a Democratic socialist who got the Democratic nomination. He
Mhm.
literally says he wants the means of production. So normally when a politician's telling you something like that out in the open, you can only
Yeah.
imagine what's behind the curtain.
Totally.
It's going to get much worse. And there's a fair amount of moderate Democrats.
You have to stay healthy and well at times like this. You know that I often have suffered from mobility issues, and now I don't. Part of my lifestyle is native path collagen. So, native path's collagen formula is made with ingredients that are scientifically developed to increase bone mineral density, support tissue recovery, reduce wrinkles, enhance hair thickness, and strengthen nails. Who wouldn't want more collagen with all of these benefits? So right now, when you visit getnativepath.com/daily clout, you can stock up on Native Path collagen for up to an incredible 45% off today, plus free shipping. Every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee. You can try it risk-free today. It is a single ingredient formula with no fillers, additives, or artificial sweeteners, and it's third-party tested for heavy metals, which makes sure that it's pure and safe. It's flavorless. You can add it to anything. I add it to my oatmeal. You can add it to coffee or smoothies. Its formula makes it more bioavailable, meaning it's absorbed more easily and mixes without clumping. And the best part is Native Path is offering amazing bundle deals, 3 or 6 packs at a fraction of the price of other brands. With over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, 8,000 five-star reviews, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee, Native Path is a trusted choice, and they offer an 800 number. You can ask any question. A real person is waiting to help. You can join a private Facebook community. I love these people. Share recipes, success stories. So that's getnativepath.com/daily clout and start your experience of transformation today.
In Brooklyn who are recognizing this.
Uh-huh.
And those people we've been reaching out to us, even saying, look, you don't need to jump ship yet. You don't need to leave the Democratic Party.
Mhm.
But let's be clear, when you get into that value, when you get into that voting booth,
Mhm.
the options are the Republican Party, the options in Brooklyn. Our Republican candidates are common sense candidates with
Right.
common sense.
Kind of what the Democrats used to be in 20 or 30 years ago in New York. Yes, the people's representatives, middle of the road. Yeah. Well, I just want to give people, I called up Zohran Mamdani's website. I want to give people who are not in New York or in the boroughs of New York a sense of what Jimmy is talking about. Specifically, you're probably talking about this candidate among other
I am
candidates, correct? All right.
100.
And this is a very big deal. So what strikes me is how incredibly good his media consultants are. This is like top quality ad campaign, like they're selling Dove soap or, something
Right.
on or whatever. And it looks very, very good. Although honestly, no one walks around wearing, this kind of outfit in New York. But then you get to what Jimmy's talking about, kind of shockingly, actually Marxist ideas. So he wants to freeze the rent. Okay, a lot of people are going to respond positively to that, at least initially, because rents are so high. Free buses, a Department of Community Safety, which if you read the fine print, downplays actual law and order and throws more money at mental health, medical services, transit ambassadors to assist New Yorkers on their journeys. What? That isn't why there's violence, because people don't know what subway stop to get off at. Free childcare, free grocery stores, thus, of course, putting out of business all those little bodegas and mom and pop grocery stores. Affordable housing paid for by New York. Of course, bad landlords will get cracked down on, and there will be taxes on big corporations, the wealthiest New Yorkers who are bringing, I like fair taxation as much as anyone, but why would any business settle in in New York City or Brooklyn. And now here are all the entities. You'll recognize some of them: AG Letitia James, the Sunrise Movement, who are straight up Marxist communists, and a lot of classic the Jewish vote, classic democratic entities, like a lot of labor. And of course, The Nation, that publication. He's getting a ton of press. But, I've just read from his platform, maybe 7 planks of his platform that involve free food, free transportation, free housing, defund the police, a bunch of free stuff, and tax the rich and the corporations. Apart from taxing the rich and the corporations who are already taxed, how are we going to pay for it, Jimmy? What do people in your community see when they see promises like this, which are working, right? Because he won the Democratic primary.
Right. So let's be very clear. It's the oldest con in the world, right? A free chicken in every pot. It's just a recycled messaging. He is, number one, is he comes from a very wealthy family. His mother is a very wealthy director. His father's a prominent...
Famous
right.
Director. Yeah,
famous director. He has a trust fund. I'm sure that he's never, let's be very clear. I don't consider politicians a real job. I don't consider anything they do to be real work. He has never worked a real job in his life. He is only 33 years old. He's never had to fire anybody. He's never had to hire anybody. Wow. He is sitting there living. There's a quote, and you can Google this, that he recently said, "When I took off time for work, I wasn't worried because my family would have money for me if I needed it," right? Let me tell you something. In Brooklyn, 99.9% of people, if they miss a day of work, they're behind the day on pay, right? And look, we're not complaining. Life is hard. Life is supposed to be hard, but we're all working towards that one opportunity, that one American dream. And it all starts right here in Brooklyn. People know that there can't be government free everything. We all know what happens with government run grocery stores. What's going to happen is, again, the wealthy elite in Manhattan will all get to eat, and they'll all get all their food, and we're going to have lines and lines around the block to fight over one block of cheese, right? That's exactly where this is going to go. And anyone who thinks that a socialist, democratic socialist of America is anything less than a Marxist is really just fooling themselves, right? It's going to be terrible. There's not enough taxes in the world to fix communist problems, right? It's not a money problem. It's a greed problem. And when the government's in charge of the greed, it always runs downhill.
Yeah, it's really scary. I'm just thinking about the war on property, right? Like, so many Brooklynites are first-time homeowners, as you said, and they've worked so hard, like multiple generations working so hard to afford that one property. And then they work so hard to afford maybe a tiny rental property. And that's, their security, and that's their income. So now, instead of benefiting from the rising property values in a lot of Brooklyn boroughs, these people are going to be competing with someone they can't compete with, which is the federal government, probably hand in hand with BlackRock at a certain point, offering low-income housing, free housing, and then BlackRock will just, scoop up the inventory, so they'll be competing with them.
Just to go to this housing issue, right? Yeah. Go all around New York City, go around Brooklyn. We have what they call as federal NYCHA projects. The New York City Housing Authority, they already have government-run housing. It's the worst run housing in the state. The federal government always has to continually step in. So, like, were we just going to build more bad housing? So when I went to Sheepshead Bay High School in Brooklyn, which is right across the street from the Notion projects. And I had a lot of friends that lived in the Notion projects. Nobody ever says, when I grow up, I want to move into the projects. We all would say, when I grow up, I want to move out of the projects. I want to move out of my apartment. I want to own my own house. They're literally taking dreams and stripping them away from people so we can all live in the projects. Mm-hmm. I think people who say that government housing is good and is great, like NYCHA, they should just go move into the projects, right? Give the people living in the projects, who a lot of them are generational and got stuck there, give them your apartment, and you can go move and let these people move into the projects.
What are some of the problems that that New Yorkers see or Brooklynites see with government-run housing projects?
It's the right. It's not. It's the same as with anything else the government runs. It's just corruption, shoddy works.
Right.
People aren't committed. It ends up being sort of like a scarlet letter on people, right? There was I knew that these two sisters, and they lived in the projects, and it was and their goal was to move out of the projects with their parents and whatnot. But because once you tell people, hey, I live in the projects, it gives people this whole sense, okay, there's a reason why your family's in the projects and you haven't gotten out yet. And it's sort of like a scarlet letter. Government housing has never been something right. And they've attempted it time and time again throughout it.
There's such a long history in the Soviet Union and other communist countries of government-run housing, and it's soul killing in the Soviet Union, and it's dangerous in New York City and Brooklyn, and crime-ridden and pest-infested. So it's extraordinary to me to see this, repackaging of ideas that we know don't work, and also that will really kill the economy. To the extent that, the local economy, to the extent that my husband, who's very analytical about things like this, really thinks this is a real estate play, like make Brooklyn, make New York so unlivable that the wealthy flee, as they will, more taxation. Why not move up to Columbia County or, down to Tennessee, right? Florida, woo. And just kind of empty out and continue to destroy New York, which is kind of a model we saw during lockdowns. And then, oligarchs or foreign entities or Vanguard can scoop it up at pennies on the dollar. What do you think of that? Is that a conspiracy theory, or is there some truth to
it? I think there's definitely some value to it. I think so. Here's part and parcel of the issue. I'm fully convinced here in Brooklyn, they are doing a lot of things to put one of these casinos here in Brooklyn.
What, a casino? Are you
in
kidding
Coney
me?
Island? No, it's the most bizarre. You would think it. They are. I feel as though there's a lot of moving parts, things that are well out of my pay grade, where there's a lot of cooperation by the oligarchs on both sides of the aisle, both Republican and Democrat, to make sure the pieces are in place so that they can get a casino here in Brooklyn. That being said, the idea of stripping down certain neighborhoods, and they've already done it. You can go to certain neighborhoods, go to East New York, go to even the neighborhood I grew up in, Garrettson Beach. My brother Mike's a sanitation worker, retired, right? He wouldn't be able to buy a house now. He has 4 kids. When him and his wife got their house, he worked very hard to get it. They wouldn't be able to buy that house now, right? Because of so many people coming in, buying, artificially inflating the prices. Is that done through a whole entire corporate systematic? I think in certain areas, definitely. But
yeah, interesting. Well, maybe we're overreading the Mamdani victory because he didn't have very impressive people to run against, right? Andrew Cuomo was the face of the mandates and the lockdowns. He's not going to have a lot of juice. So let's move to your, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think there's still hope that, there can be, I guess it's going to be a Republican victory in November. So let's talk about your candidates.
So I would pray for a Republican victory in November. I just want to go back to the Democratic primary. Like, we talk about Cuomo, Adams, and Zandami. They're all three the same. Their policies, everything about them is very similar. One is a little more to the right, but they're all on that same line of thought. Cuomo was the architect of cashless bail. Adams was an original defund the police. And and Mr. Mamdani is just bringing it all together in reference to solutions that don't include the government, right? If we look to the Republican Party, especially here in Brooklyn, what they're talking about are solutions where affordable housing, we have thousands and thousands of vacant lots all across the city.
Hi, everyone. It's Naomi Wolf. The American healthcare system is broken. Big pharma charges an arm and a leg for their products, while insurance companies are focused on growing healthcare spending. So I'm always researching ways to take care of myself naturally. And one of the most overlooked factors is improving your blood flow. That means more oxygen and nutrients to your brain, heart, muscles. All our bodies need a little extra help as we get older. I use Blood Flow 7 from Juvenon. It works by boosting nitric oxide levels 230% and opening arteries up to 62% to improve blood flow. With just one dose a day, it's helped improve my stamina, energy, focus, and it supports my heart health, all without caffeine or stimulants. It's doctor formulated, scientifically backed with premium and natural ingredients. I wouldn't share it if it didn't work for me and for people I love. So go to www.bloodflow7.com/daily clout or click the link in the description below to learn more today. Do it.
We should they should be making a play to have builders build in those lots and build the affordable housing within those lots, but let it be done privately. Give them incentive to do it. We're using prevailing wage. So that means you're going to have union guys on all these different jobs, putting up all these different buildings. That's one way to get it done. When we go to the Department of Education, you have a totally bloated bureaucratic system that there are more bureaucrats in the Department of Education than there are teachers.
Oh my
And we have teachers, we have students that are reading 3, 4, 5 levels below their grade level. It's an absolute disaster, and it's all been under the Democratic umbrella for the last 30 years in New York City. There hasn't been any problem with that exists within New York City is laid squarely at the feet of the Democrats and the people they've had in power, because the Republicans are non-existent. We
Wow.
are doing everything we can. Like I said, the idea to turn this very deep blue borough, turn it red, would be happy with turning it purple.
Right.
Would like all the moderate Democrats to run our ticket down, the Republican ticket, starting with Mr. Curtis Sliwa, going on to Gonzalo Duran, moving to Janine Aquafreda, Athena Clark, Luis Quiero, Elijah Diaz, Richie Barsimian. I mean, the list goes on. When you get into that booth, there will be Republican candidates, and I think every single moderate Democrat needs to take a step back and just think about New York City for the last 20 years. If we elect this Democratic Socialist as our mayor, it's
Mhm.
going to be an accelerated far worse than Bill de Blasio ever was.
That's so true. Now, let me understand what you're saying. Are you saying you're reaching out to moderate Democrats to leave the party and join the Republican Party? Or are you saying, yes, you are? Is that what you're
I'm going
saying?
to tell you, look, it's mutiny. Like I said, I truly believe that there's no salvaging the Democratic Party. I believe it's lost. They've been co-opted by the Democratic Socialist, which is it's totally different than traditional Democratic ideals. And look, like I said, I was a Democrat my whole life. I worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign. Like my father was an elected union official. He's
Wow.
deceased now. If he had seen what was going on, what they did to the workers, he's rolling over in his grave.
Yeah.
It's over. There's no salvaging it. That's
Yeah.
my personal opinion. There's a lot of Democrats who still feel it can be salvaged. I'm
Mhm.
not. I would love for them to leave and join the Republican Party here in Kings County. However, at a minimum, I really would hope that in November they go into that voting booth. No one's going to know, and they just go Republican down the line. And it's a Republican for common sense. It's a Republican for accepting responsibility. We don't want free. We don't want the government in our life. We just want to live the way the Constitution promises us.
Mhm. So you're saying that citizens can secretly vote Republican even if they'll get ostracized by their friends and coworkers if they knew. Is that what you're saying? That
I'm saying yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Listen, they don't worry about the outside noise. I cannot believe that there's people living within New York City that truly believes that Zohan is going to do communism right. It just doesn't work.
Oh, I mean, I know some young people in their 20s and early 30s who are, and they're not working class, they're like privileged, who are absolutely captivated by Zohran Mamdani and think that they're bringing in a brave new world. They think they're helping the working class by voting for someone like that. They are not old enough or well enough educated about communism to understand what a threat he poses. But so the list of people that you named, are they Republicans working with you, or are they moderate Democrats that you're hoping to lure across the divide?
No, everyone I named is all gonna be a Republican you're gonna see on your ticket.
Wow. So
If
tell
you're
me,
in Brooklyn, you will
no.
see them on your ticket in November. Those are all Republicans.
And do you have a hope of a Republican winner? Well, who's it going to be for mayor?
For
Like,
mayor, I listen, in 2016, every now we don't even need to go back to 2016. In this primary, Democratic primary, the day of the primary, the pollsters were promising you Cuomo had no chance of losing. He was going to be the guaranteed winner.
right.
So what I'm saying is to tell people to put the blinders, shut off the TVs.
Mm.
Don't listen to the pollsters. They don't know. They don't know what's going on. Mr. Curtis Lewa in the last election got 30%. Right
Did
now,
you
he did.
really?
In the last mayoral election, he got 30%. This election, but he only ran against Mayor Adams. This election, we have minimum of three. We have Cuomo, Adams, and Zohran all competing for that remaining 70%. So there's a mathematical, and if we're able to work hard enough, convince people that they're all cut from the same cloth. Again, Cuomo, Adams, and Zohran are all the same person, right? You vote for one, there's a vote for the other, and it's going to destroy New York City.
Right.
There's a real chance Mr. Curtis Lewa could become mayor of New York City.
Wow. And do you think I mean, I like him a lot. I think he's a cool guy. He's, stood the test of time. But do you think he's got the administrative chops to run something as complex as New York City?
So I'm going to tell you, when it comes to being able to do that, Mr. Sliwa has run the Guardian Angels. It's a not-for-profit organization since the late 70s. So he has administrative experience, number one. Number two, I think we need somebody who's going to come in who's not embedded within the Democratic oligarchy system. We know, look, Adams is allegedly running the city right now. There was just a huge federal lawsuit filed where they were saying his police department is again just running amok, is filled with corruption. Andrew Cuomo resigned in disgrace. I can't say this enough that we've so easily forgotten that a 3-term governor resigned for sexual harassment allegations against young women, and we were so welcoming him back. Mr. Mamdani, he's 33 years old. He's never worked a job in his life.
Yeah.
So if that was the threshold of selecting, I truly do believe at Mr. Sliwa does have the team around him. He'll get the people in place. And the things he's saying he's going to do, he can actually do. It's like I really like his plan for public safety.
Let's hear it.
His plan for public safety is not only as his experience with the Guardian Angels, he's going to go into each of the local precincts and understand in each precinct what is the demand and the crime issues. Because the crime issues where my law office is on Flatbush Avenue compared to the crime issues where I live in Bay Ridge, it's two different issues, right?
Yeah.
So I think trying to have these blanket approaches across the entirety of the city to fight crime really need to be reanalyzed, and every single precinct should be able to get their own tools that they need within their precinct to fight the problems that are unique to their precinct. What we have right now is a 3-card Monte with crime, right? It's the shuffling of stats. He has said he's going to be fully transparent. There's going to be no more stat games played. People are going to see the crimes that are going on, and we're going to put real policies in place to stop those crimes. But we can't even talk about that type of work if we can't see what the crime is that's actually happening within every community.
Right. So he's got a little bit of a challenge, which is I had to poke around a bit to find his campaign website, but he makes a compelling case. He says what he's about once you find it. He's dealing with transportation, subways. He talks about the Guardian Angels. I do see his platform here. It's not as spiffily laid out as Mamdani's, but he's got making housing affordable with a typo, unfortunately, education, public safety for all, and revive New York City. So you can click there to read each platform, and he's got it. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd about websites. I don't think he should bury his platform 3 clicks in, but
Right.
he's got it all there. Reaching out to the homeless, reforming internal oversight, crime reduction, long-term plan, ending the cycle for repeat offenders. I think a lot of people would like that. It's very detailed. Strengthening the special narcotics prosecutor's office, combating retail theft, cracking down on illegal street racing, ATV gangs. I would like that. Auxiliary officers. It's very detailed. It's just hidden. So I don't know if you've got friends, friends who are friends with Sliwa, or if you're
Right. Right.
campaign guy, or gal, but they could showcase that platform a little better. It's an impressive platform. Now, in the last 7 minutes we have, tell us about your candidates. My audience knows I interviewed one of them. I may get a chance to interview another, but and she was so impressive, Athena Clark. But tell us about who you've got in your roster.
So when we say my candidates, just be clear, they're
Republican.
collectively Republicans coming out of Brooklyn. I'm going to tell you, we have the one young man I'm super impressed with. He's a 22-year-old kid. And I use kid as like, I look at him like my little brother. His name is Elijah Diaz. He's running in District 45 against Farrell Lewis. And he has repeatedly called for a debate. And she has repeatedly denied the opportunity. They moved in court on 2 different occasions to have him removed from the ballot. They failed on both occasions. The next individual I'd like to talk.
Why did they want to remove him from the ballot? That's so weird.
It's so lame. Agreed. It's part and parcel of what they do. That's Mr. Diaz.
Yeah.
He's young, energetic, and he 100% does not fall into the category of young people. And I think a lot, when you said you speak to a lot of like some of the privileged young people you talk about, right? Mr. Diaz is not privileged. Mr. Diaz has worked hard for everything he has, and he continues to work. And I think there's a lot to be said about this privileged group who are run by trust funds, who have very wealthy parents that can help them in a jam. Sometimes when you don't have that fallback, that's why you're so confident in yourself. And you're not working class people in Brooklyn, if they need your help, they're asked for it. We don't want the government just to presume and give us help.
Right. Right. A very impressive young man. And his platform is right there for all to see. Who else have you got?
So we have Luis Cuero, and he's in 38.
Okay. Lewis? Okay. Lewis. Sorry. I just want people to see.
Agreed.
Cuero. Is it Q-U-I-E-R-O?
Q-U-E-R-O for city council.
E-R-O.
So it's luis438.com.
Okay, found it. I will share my screen so everyone can see. And listen, everyone, if you're not in Brooklyn, it doesn't matter. You've got friends in Brooklyn. You've got a voice on social media. And this is Luis Cuero. Go ahead.
So Lewis is actually a businessman. He works for the banks. He wants to bring home, he has great common sense ideas for small businesses all throughout his district. And his district covers from Red Hook all the way to the shores of Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge. So it's a huge district. Mr. Cuero, it's his first time running. He's out there every day. He is trying to explain to people. We're trying to let all of Brooklyn know that the Democratic Party is not your only option.
Right.
We can come back to common sense. Every candidate we're running is a candidate that has never run for office before. They all knew. Right. These are not politicians. These are people who over the last 4 or 5 years have recognized the system's broken. The politician lies just never stop. And then when they get politicians who tell you what they're going to do, we somehow want to dress it up in pearls and say it's a good thing. And it's just not.
Yeah, I just want to say, I love this guy. You just want to get to work without getting stabbed or burned alive. Is that asking too much? I love his straightforwardness, but also looking at his platform, no new shelters or drug clinics, 68% increase in felonious assaults and increases in rapes where these facilities have been crammed in, not in the wealthy neighborhoods. That's a very moderate, basic
Right.
point. Building housing for the masses, stop funding do nothing nonprofits and fund training programs. This is not like, right-wing extremism or left-wing extremism. This is really down the middle, common sense legislation. End bail reform laws that protect repeat offenders, make our real estate market accessible by promoting co-op projects targeting low to moderate income households, bolster laws on title fraud targeting the elderly. Yes, streamline confusing onerous requirements for job placement programs, get people trained and employed, stop funding do nothing nonprofits, and divert funds to small business education. This is so smart. Trade and vocational programs, oppose new drug treatments, quote unquote, safe injection sites that cause neighborhood instability. I would get behind every single one of those. That's just about making life better in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is crazy in the places that have those facilities or those insane programs.
Agreed. We have a city that we've moved from building it on hard work and capitalism, that they're trying to build an economic engine out of vice, right?
Right.
They've legalized, right, they legalized drugs, they've legalized gambling. Like they just want to like, when you're gonna try to make New York City has been an economic engine for the world, and we didn't have to rely on vice. Let's
Right.
go back to doing the innovative ideas where people come from all over the world to work hard and come up with great solutions. And that's what New York should be known for. We
Yeah.
shouldn't be known for safe drug in sites and casinos.
Yeah,
And
totally. And he's so right. Those, safe injection sites are not being whacked into Brooklyn or I'm sorry,
right,
into Williamsburg or the fancy neighborhoods. They're yeah, I mean, in our own neighborhood, they're planning to put a giant facility to house people who are mentally ill, and there are a lot of elderly in our area, and that isn't, and school children, and it is not, it's not a good idea. So I really like what he's doing, and I like that he's targeting nonprofits because when you say we've made an economy out of vice, we've also made an economy out of dysfunction by shunting all this government money to these nonprofits who this has been something that drives me crazy for years. They don't teach people how to get a job, how to move up in your job, how to dress for your job, how to, be financially literate. They literally, create programs about like random sociocultural ideas that don't help kids at all become entrepreneurs or become, welders or, all the things you could be, bankers, none of teachers, none of the things. I love it. Anyone else in our last few minutes? I know we've got to let you go.
no, I think the last one you did a fantastic interview with Athena Clark. I'll just remind everyone to go watch that for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Hey everyone, it's Naomi Wolf of Daily Clout. Have you ever wondered why your brain can feel foggy even when you're eating clean and exercising? It might not be burnout, it could be parasites. Groundbreaking research from Dr. Alan McDonald reveals a direct link between chronic parasite infections and neurological diseases such as multiple sclerosis. Parasites can cause inflammation, nerve damage, and long-term cognitive decline. More reason to do a full body cleanse at least once a year. The wellness company has a solution for you, ivermectin and mebendazole, the gold standard parasite solution now combined in one cleanse combo designed to eliminate harmful invaders and support your immune system naturally. Medical grade, not some trendy herbal gimmick. Fill out a quick intake form and you'll get a 3-month supply shipped straight to your door. Maha is officially here, and the wellness company is making hard to get medications digitally accessible so you can live your best life. Head to dailyclout.health and use code dailyclout to save $60 off plus free shipping on all orders. Cleanse your body today. Get rid of parasites today. Thank you.
And look, each one of these candidates in Brooklyn, it's just a lot of work. We're doing it all on the ground. We're outnumbered 8-2. It's not an easy fight, but if we could use your nationwide reach, everyone around the country, any help you can do, any help you can give any one of these candidates at any of their websites, I am sure it would be greatly appreciated.
Here we are. Here's Athena Clark. She's so cool. Let me share the screen. Honestly, these are, wonderful. I mean, I haven't met all of them. I've only met Ms. Clark, who is fantastic, but these are, really hardworking, distinguished, admirable Brooklynites. And I applaud, the Republicans in Brooklyn for identifying such wonderful leaders, with such broad appeal and, so much achievement. And, you're definitely not grandma's Republicans. You're not
Right.
George Bush's Republicans. This is a new face of leadership, young and dynamic and innovative and entrepreneurial. And I really, really like your roster. So in addition to going to the websites, giving money if people can afford to, reaching out to see if people can help with whatever the campaigns need, there's always, ballots, envelope stuffing.
Right.
Right. I've been a Democrat too long. All kinds of things you can do to help. How do they help you, Jimmy, and find out more about Republicans in
So our club, it's www.djtnyc.com. We have a meeting coming up this Thursday. Everyone, doors are open. You're free to come listen, hear what everyone's speaking. We're going to have a commercial running on TV starting probably in August, September, October, just to talk about the club. And then 1 week from today, next Saturday night, there's an event called Critical Combat 2. One of the club is one of the sponsors of it. It's an MMA event right here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right here in Brooklyn. If anyone's interested, just go to the website, email me, reference that they caught the show and they want to come to the event. I'll get you free tickets, and I hope you'll come enjoy the MMA fighting.
Fantastic. And don't you have a very important event in August?
We do. So I wasn't sure if I was going to make it a big surprise. We cannot
do the surprise.
So our August meeting will be August 23rd, and the wonderful, unbelievable warrior, true martyr, Naomi Wolf, will be our guest speaker, and we are super, super excited. You are the best, Naomi. I've actually had the opportunity. I heard you speak in Albany, and it was fantastic. So.
Well, it's a mutual admiration society. We thank you so much for, bringing basic citizen engagement, democracy, and representation, which I don't see as partisan, to Brooklyn, and breaking out of the machine. I'm so excited for what you're doing. We want to help you in any way we can. We are nonpartisan, but we live part-time in Brooklyn. So we love, love, love what you're doing. Everyone, whether you're in Brooklyn or not, whether you're in New York or not, share this video, share it with your friends in Brooklyn and New York, and think about it, because what Jimmy Wagner and his colleagues are facing is something that we're facing all across the country. Thank you, Jimmy Wagner.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. See you.